On today's show, we talked a lot about how Cooper Flagg is an amazing fit for the Dallas Mavericks, but why are the Mavs a good fit for Cooper Flagg? We'll talk about that and more today. It's Locked On Mavs. All right, I got Mark Tatum back up.
I mean, if we get top two, that's insane.
Fourth pick is the Charlotte Hornets.
The Charlotte Hornets.
The Philadelphia 76ers.
Oh,
okay.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Mavericks
Stop it. Stop. The number one pick will go to the Dallas Mavericks. Cooper Flagg will fly in Dallas.
Dogs, all of us, all five.
You are Locked On Mavs, your daily Dallas Mavericks podcast.
No one's dying.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Still can't leave.
Your team every day.
I'm gonna get a city like that.
And welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks, your team every day. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member covering the Dallas Mavericks for 10 years. Thanks for being an everyday, making Locked On Mavs your first listen. Joining me, as always, my co-host, media member covering the Dallas Mavericks, is right alongside me, the fit finder, the one more thinking. What you got for me, Isaac Harris?
I don't have anything for you today.
Oh, nothing. What you got for me is nothing.
Is this a first?
It's not August yet. We got to have something.
I mean, I watched the Knicks Pacers game. Shout out to the Knicks for at least putting up a fight
Digging
compared
deep.
to Minnesota. And man, I just really want a game 7 in the Garden. Figure out a way to
That'd be
pull out this
amazing.
win in Indiana to where we get a game 7 in the Garden with Chalamet. I don't even know what style he is rocking right now, but
The early Guy Fieri. That's what he's. That's
that's good. I like that.
That's what he was doing. Oh man. Today's episode, we'll talk about a team that's not in the playoffs. Sad. We'll talk about the Dallas Mavericks and why the Mavericks are a good fit for Cooper Flagg himself. They have a bunch of different things to me. They're a win now opportunity. They'll have opportunity for offense early on. And so there's a lot of different things that I'm going to take and think that the Mavs are a good fit for Flagg himself and why it'll be a good spot for him. But let's start here. I know that I was the blow it up guy earlier this week. And yes,
Yeah,
long
you
term,
were.
if the Mavs want to do that, sure, asset wise and everything, it would make more sense. But I do think that having veteran championship experience in a Klay Thompson, an Anthony Davis, a Kyrie Irving, to be there with Cooper Flagg early in his career, like that is just invaluable experience to have next to a guy like that. We saw what happened when Dirk was there with Luka early in his career and how Luka was able to take from Dirk. We've seen how other stars have passed to the ones, the next generation and how that's worked out for them. And I just can't imagine that having Klay Thompson, who's a 4-time champion, been in the NBA for 14 years, played 158 playoff games. Anthony Davis, champion, 12 years in the NBA, 60 playoff games. Kyrie Irving, champion, 13 years in the NBA, 96 playoff games. And then to top it all off, Dwight Powell, who just can show Cooper Flagg how to last on an NBA roster through multiple regimes. And
He's played in the finals.
And stars. He's played in a finals. He's played in playoff games. But to have that kind of veteran experience, I think is invaluable for a guy like that. And I think that that's a reason why this is a good fit.
Yeah, I mean Dwight was there in 06 also, and 2011 and and all of that. I started
06.
going through it because we've talked about this a lot on our pod about how we both think this is like super valuable for Cooper Flagg to be with. Here's the difference though. There is a big difference when you have the experience and the veteran leadership in the rotation and playing. I think it's awesome whenever you see teams add the guy on the end of the bench. You get like a PJ Tucker with the Knicks right now. You see a James Johnson with Indiana. These guys that teams throw, or when Haslam was there for Miami,
Markieff Morris for the Mavs the other year.
Yeah, and it's like you have that guy at the end of the bench. And then sometimes it's a guy who has a championship or something like that. And you're writing the pieces and everything saying like, dude, that dude at the end of the bench, he just has that voice in the locker room. He just tells them, hey, this is what it was like when I played in the finals. And the difference is you get to play with those guys that they're at like the peak of their game. I mean, let's say relatively speaking, of a Kyrie and Klay and AD that they're going to be starting, if not starting 6-man, playing a ton of minutes with you. And that's I think, and you look at the other options that he could have went to, just looking like at championship experience. And you look at the lottery and it's like San Antonio, Philadelphia, Charlotte, Utah, Washington, New Orleans. Like how many of these players would he be playing with that have won a title before in the rotation for all of these teams? Brooklyn, Toronto, I mean, Houston, Portland, Chicago. Like, I just don't. I mean, I'm just doing this off the top of my head, and it's like this is the one situation in the top 14 that you're stepping into a rotation with 2 to 3 guys that at top of their games right now and have rings under their belt and stuff. So I think that's just going to be huge for somebody like Cooper Flagg.
Besides maybe the Warriors with Curry and Draymond, and then like LeBron himself on the Lakers, there may not be a team with more championship and playoff experience than the Mavericks with those 3 guys. I mean, you're talking about what, 300 playoff games between the 3 of them. That is really hard to do and hard to get to. And so that's invaluable for a guy like that, because we've already seen that he's the sponge, that he's going to take a lot from these guys. He's going to watch them work. He's going to watch Kyrie work back from an injury. He's going to watch Anthony Davis try and lead this team at the 4 position, which is what we think eventually Flagg will grow into. Watch Klay Thompson shoot. Like, the thing that Cooper Flagg needed to work on the most last year was 3-point shooting, and he's going to watch one of the greatest of all time do it.
People are going to lose their minds at the first training camp footage of him and Klay doing a 3-point drill around the arc after practice. And they're like, if he gets Klay's shot, then it's over. The league's not ready.
The league's not ready.
But here's another thing about those 3 guys, or at least the 2 of them, and Kyrie and AD. They came in the league as number 1 picks, and they came in with expectations. They came in like with all the hype going through high school and into their college seasons. I know Kyrie's, he didn't play a ton because of injury, but like Anthony Davis, similar position, number 1 pick, high school hype, 1 year in college. Like, that alone, like, it's, once again, it's not even like just the championship experience in the rotation, but you get championship experience from number 1 overall picks who've like kind of walked the life that you have and's going to be playing with you. I think just all of that is a great thing. And if you don't believe that it's not, then like, whatever your opinion is, like, we can differ on that. Because you could look at different players and be like, oh, well, this player played with this guy and didn't mean anything. But also look at a guy that you brought up not too long ago, and like, look at what Kawhi stepped into in San Antonio. And it's like, yeah, he stepped into more rings and stuff that Duncan and Duncan, Ginobili, Parker, and those guys had, and the playoff experience and stuff. But like, Kawhi stepped in as this like super young guy into that situation with those guys with all the experience, and then bam, I mean, he's had a pretty good career.
Do you remember the covers of SI that were like prepared to get schooled? And it was Kevin Garnett with Karl Anthony Towns, because they were playing together. It was like the number 1 pick with Kevin Garnett. And then it was, you remember the other ones?
No.
It was D'Angelo Russell with Kobe Bryant. And it was Dwayne Wade with Justice Winslow.
Oh, that's awesome.
Sometimes it works out like that, right? Like where you go. I mean, and Towns has been an all-NBA player, and he's been an all-star. And I mean, he hasn't fully followed in the path of Kevin Garnett and been an MVP, but he's been a very good player in the league. Russell and Justice Winslow were not that level of players, and are not the level of player that Cooper Flagg even is right now.
Did you get a chance to check out Wade's new chest tattoo?
Dwayne Wade? I try not to look at Dwayne Wade as much as I possibly can.
All right.
What is it?
If you can imagine something that would fit, yeah, it's incredible, man.
Is it him coughing?
It's him on the ground, like getting back up 7 times.
Okay, wait, I just looked at it.
Yeah.
It's okay. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's great, ain't it?
This is incredible radio. It's just like an image of him. He's like a little cartoon character at the bottom pointing up. He's got his Wade 3 jersey on. Yeah. The basket has a 3 on the shot clock, synergy, and has his logo on the bottom of the stanchion.
Yeah.
Then there's like the stylized photo lens flare thing behind it. And it has his Richards, I'm assuming is his high school jersey, has his Marquette jersey, has his Team USA jersey, and his Heat jersey on it. And he's pointing up at it.
Just like, hey, yeah, sit down in the chair. I want to put my accolades and myself on my chest, because I want to look in the mirror and just like see me and see what I've done. And
have you ever listened to Brian Regan, the comedian?
No, I haven't.
So Brian Regan has this joke where he talks about there's always that person that you run into that's the meme monster. That anytime you tell a story, they're like, they got to one up it and like say me, like I did it better. And so somebody will be like, yeah, we went to the Grand Canyon this weekend. Well, I walked on the moon. Like that's the one you can't top. It's like if you walked on the moon.
Yeah. Somebody's gonna be having dinner. Is like, yeah, I got my last name, my like inner bicep. And he's like, hold on.
me.
I have my whole life right here and everything I've done.
Got all my jerseys. Got me on the basket.
LeBron is so jealous right now.
LeBron's gonna get it himself. He's gonna get the Dwayne Wade one. Coming up. The reason why some people might think that playing with that much championship experience is not great for Flagg is because the opportunity is not going to be there early on. But I believe there is some kind of offensive opportunity for him to learn in a different way. We'll talk about that and more coming up. Today's episode of Locked On Mavs brought to you by DoorDash. DoorDash, there for you. There for you when you're just like, man, I want to just keep watching these games. I want to just keep enjoying my home. You paid the rent. You might as well get every dollar out of that rent, right? NBA fans, you know what time it is. Playoff season means big performances, even bigger rewards. Right now, they have a deal called They Swoosh, You Score. Anytime a player drops 50 or more in a playoff game, Dash Bash members score a free 3-piece crispy tenders combo from Wingstop the very next day. Just place an order of $20 or more. Use the code WINGSTOP50 at checkout, and that combo is yours. Crispy, delicious, totally free. Gotta love that. Check out all the different ways you can use DoorDash as well. Sign up for Dash Pass. That's how you get access to this offer and see how you can get $0 delivery fees, exclusive perks like this one, and all kinds of other ways you can save with Dash Pass. So check it out. Again, when any player scores 50, Dash Pass members can grab a free 3-piece crispy tenders combo from Wingstop the very next day with a $20 or more order and the code WINGSTOP50. It's the words Wingstop, then the number 50, all one word. That's Dash Pass, your door to more savings, more flavor, and more ways to win. Terms apply.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
Thanks for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs, being part of the show, part of the Raccoon Squad, what we call our listeners. We appreciate each and every one of you for checking out the show and listening every day. We'll have a show all throughout the offseason. If you're new here, this is what we do, and we've been doing it since 2017.
Hey, Nick, can I ask you a question? So what do y'all do in the off season?
Oh, it's the question I get the most. After, do you like your job? The next question I get is, what do you guys talk, like, so you guys stop in the offseason? No. We've been going 5 days a week through the offseason for since 2018, probably. I don't think we did the first couple years. For a long time, we've been doing this. And so what do we talk about? We'll talk about this. We'll talk about Cooper Flagg a lot. We'll talk about the opportunities for the Mavericks in free agency, other opportunities in the draft. There's a lot of things we'll get into. We'll obviously cover Summer League very extensively and all kinds of stuff like that. We'll have fun on here. So stick with us. Isaac and I slightly be joining. We'll have guests as well. All right, Isaac. We're talking about ways that the Mavericks are a good fit for Cooper Flagg. And you talked about there are some people that may think that playing with that much experience and playing with this many vets and playing with a win now team like this is not great for Cooper Flagg, because there are some people that say you've got to get your lumps early. You've got to go out there and you've got to play and you've got to go out there and take 20 shots a game and figure out what's right for you, figure out how you fit in the NBA and then grow that way. I think he is going to get like 15 shots a game early, because the Mavs are going to need offense. Maybe not 15, but like he'll get a lot of opportunity early in the offense and early in the season, because the Mavs aren't going to have a Kyrie who they're expecting to come back. So they're not going to fully replace him. They're not going to go out and get a guard that fully replaces and takes all those possessions away. They have, a center in Dereck Lively that doesn't demand the ball that much. They have Anthony Davis, who is going to have the ball a lot, but they have like Klay Thompson, who plays off of guys. He doesn't demand the ball that often. You've got PJ Washington, doesn't demand the ball that often. You've got to have somebody that eventually fills that vacuum. And I think Cooper Flagg can do that. And I think that's where he figures out how to get his offense. He'll have opportunity early to transition his offensive game and to grow early, because I think there's going to be some early mistakes there, but that's where you grow. And hopefully by the time Kyrie comes back and the playoffs are done, he knows what his NBA offense, at least first year, is going to be.
Yeah, I put as one of the bullet points on mine was structured system where he will need to score. There's a difference between going into a system in which, hey, you're just going to need to score because they don't have anybody else. Going to like a Washington if they won the lottery.
Oof.
It's like, hey, have fun, like Alex Sarr and Koulibaly and Bob Carrington, and it's like, just get the ball to him. When Jordan Poole's not on the floor. instead of going to a system in which Dallas is running to be a playoff team and to win games and to try to win games every time you get on the floor. There's a difference in that between, going to a situation like Washington, like, cool, you can get up your 17 shots a game, but ultimately we're going for another draft pick here. All right. So we're going to lose a ton of games. And we know you're not used to losing a ton of games in your lifetime, but step into this situation. We promise losing looks cooler here with a paycheck. So, yeah, I think that's the thing. Your point, I mean, that's the main reason I put it on there too, is like he's going to step into a system that Kyrie's going to be out. So he's going to be asked to probably score a decent amount. I think AD still leads the team in shot attempts and stuff, but like he should get a decent amount of, and I'll add another one to this. Go ahead. And I put in there that he's going to step into a system to where he has a lob threat too, and a couple lob threats, especially 100%. If they keep Gafford. So at Duke, he and Malawach, and it's like, this dude is 7'2" with arms that can tie his shoes standing up. And, he ran the pick and roll a ton. And especially when you look at his numbers, I mean, it was the highest offensive percentage of his possessions. You see how much he ran the pick and roll ball handler spot. All of these as the high pick and roll, 1.04 points per possession in that. All of them is over a 1.0 points per possession. It's like, he's really good at running pick and roll, making the right decision, scoring, doing that. So you're stepping into a system that was built around a pick and roll guy. Not saying that Cooper Flagg's going to be a pick and roll maestro like Luka is. I mean, Luka is like the upper echelon of all people who can run pick and roll, but it's like he can do that and he excels in that. So you can actually throw it to him and say, all right, let's run a high pick and roll with Lively going down the floor while AD's on the bench getting a breather. And you're like, he has the lob threat too. And I watched too many Duke games in which Cooper Flagg got the ball in the elbow and that kind of like mid-range spot. And he does a couple moves and then he just has this touch around the basket. He just lobs it up to Malawach and he just throws down this easy dunk. And I'm like, this is going to be Lively, like, I don't know, 6 times a game. It's going to be back to the Luka days with that.
Oh, absolutely. One of my other ones was he has a Duke running mate in Dereck Lively to grow with. Lob threat that he'll have to figure out how do they play off of each other. Incredible defensive combo. Like even I went through the timeline. Like eventually in 2-3 years when Anthony Davis is not on the team or contract runs out or when he steps back maybe into a smaller role, you have Flagg and Lively that'll be the next generation of this Mavericks team. And to have those guys together, that's one reason why it's a good fit. Like Lively is a foundational piece that can play in a finals. We already know that. None of these other teams know that they have a player that can play in the finals, especially one that fits so well with a Cooper Flagg.
I guess my big thing is like what, and I think everybody has their own definitions of this, but what makes a good fit for a player? Like fit means so much. Like I think fit honestly gets like underrated when it comes to like prospects and stuff, because I think you ultimately, I always go back to like Rondo in Boston. And it's like, I remember those Kentucky days and he was so young and lanky and everything. Yeah. And then he declared and it's like, I remember a bunch of my Kentucky friends and everything. It's like, why is he leaving? Like,
he should stay. Yeah.
He's like, why? And then he gets, he goes to Boston and it was just a perfect situation for him. And he has all these weapons around him. Like brought out all of his strengths and everything. And it was like, it's the prime definition for me in my lifetime that I always go back to him. Like, dude, fit meant everything for like Rondo's career to start off in, those Boston years and everything. So like, what is the definition of a good fit for people when they're firing off Dallas isn't a good fit? I'm like, so your definition of a good fit is to like go to Washington or like Utah? Like I could hear a case for Utah. It's like, oh, Will Hardy. And it's like, but still it's like, okay, the best fit is him to play with Markkanen in Utah when they're going to lose a ton of games. And it's like, I guess I could hear it, but I feel like I can make just as good a case for Dallas too. So I don't know. I just don't get who determines a good fit or not.
I want to be clear. That's the only positive things we'll ever say about Rondo on this show.
Okay, that's true.
Just want to make sure that we're on the same page with that.
There's probably a good chunk of Mavs fans right now who have no clue about the Rondo experience.
Just go back and watch the one of the few Mavs games I went to before I covered the Mavericks, like as my job. Mavs versus Raptors, when Rondo was yelling at Rick Carlisle and Rondo just left the game and just walked into the locker room and just like left. And
Mavs Rockets,
like, where the heck did he go?
Tough.
And The only time I ever went to Rupp Arena, by the way, to see Kentucky, Rondo versus.
I don't know. Were they playing Louisville?
Your alma mater.
Liberty?
Yeah. My parents both went there, and so we went to go see Liberty, and we saw Kentucky, and Rondo was on the team, and all I remember was just like that point guard has the longest arms I've ever seen. That's that's the only thing I remember about that.
Yeah.
But I also think that just being with Dereck Lively, I think is going to be a great fit, and I'm excited to see that combo for sure. As much as I'm excited to see AD and Flagg, the Lively and Flagg combo is just going to be.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, I know you've done a lot of work and stuff on the timeline, conversation, but I think some people see, hey, they have some win now players, so therefore he's not a fit because they're on this timeline, or you get some ridiculous like Boogie Cousins, like they should trade the number one pick for KD because they're in win now mode. And it's like, guys, it doesn't, just because they have a couple win now players doesn't mean that he's not a fit, because there's a timeline already going. So anyway, just the whole conversation around draft picks and the fits, it's so relative and so all over the place that I think it's funny sometimes.
Coming up, one thing that I think will be incredible for him in the timeline that'll help his development, the Mavericks can potentially offer him that none of these other top teams in the lottery could offer him. We'll talk about that and more coming up. All right, Isaac, we're talking about ways that the Mavericks are a good fit for Cooper Flagg, that in his career, it is good for him to come to the Mavericks, that the Mavericks got the number one pick and not a Charlotte or a Utah or somewhere else. Quick one. It's top 5 media market. It's an opportunity.
Yeah,
there's an opportunity there. The GM is really, the GM really values defense over everything, apparently. And I think that's a positive for Cooper Flagg in his career.
I really tried to find something with that angle.
That's it. It's that he values defense over everything, apparently.
I was trying to craft like more of a bigger thing of like, it feels like everything you read about Cooper Flagg is the things that they have like casually taken shots at about Luka.
Yeah, right.
So it feels like you're stepping into a situation to where these parts about you is going to get like raved about, and maybe a little bit more than average too. Like
go out of their way to do it.
Yeah. And I mean, he was already going to be like beloved wherever he went, but I think there might be an extra from the front office about him and stuff right now.
The day that Nico goes and he works on his body, he's just very in the gym, like
nonstop worker.
People are just going to go nuts.
Honestly, I know this is kind of crazy, but like, it kind of reminds me of Kobe. Back in,
he's got that Mamba mentality.
Got the mentality.
Oh, as soon as he says it. The thing that I think the Mavericks can offer him that none of these other teams can offer him, except for maybe the Sixers, maybe the Pelicans could, is that they're going to make the playoffs.
Oh,
and getting that playoff opportunity early in your career. We're seeing with Anthony Edwards now that Anthony Edwards each year has gotten more and more playoff experience, and we saw him against Memphis. We've seen him against, Denver. We saw him against that LeBron Lakers team, the Phoenix Kevin Durant team. We saw him against the Luka Lakers. Now we've seen him against the Thunder. Like, he's getting all this experience early. He's not even 24 yet, and Flagg is going to get that opportunity as well to get a lot of playoff experience early. And I think that that's something that is really good for him to see how you need to grow your game in an off season after you make the playoffs. Like, that is just such a learning curve opportunity that he should take, and that hopefully the Mavs can give that for him.
No, yeah, I think that's great. I love that, because I've always been in the camp that it's not always the best thing for top prospects to go into losing situations. And that this has been when we were doing the show years ago, and I was planting my flag on these mini hills of like, I don't know about losing every game is the best thing, because I just think losing in that atmosphere it has an effect on players and development and mindset and so much, especially early on. I'll stay off the court for a second, because you mentioned
just really bad for Justin Anderson's career for the Mavs to be losing all those games.
A passionate fan base, like there's
fair.
And now you could maybe say it's like a negative too, of like, hey, well, I could go somewhere and just kind of like just go on with my career and not like be under the microscope. But there's some other options there in that lottery, especially in the top lottery, where I would say, I know we're in the bubble of the Mavs world, but I would say the Mavs fan base is more passionate than like, I don't know, Pelicans, let's say that, or I hate to bring Washington up all the time, but like Washington, or, Philly obviously has a big one. So I think Philly would be kind of equivalent to Dallas with that. But you're going to step into a situation to where like you're going to see your jerseys and stuff everywhere. The fan base has been scarred, but like we've had these like young stars that have like grown up in Dallas, and you kind of adopted them and seen them as kind of like one of your own, like, oh, cool. And then, your heart gets ripped out. But I don't know. I think it's a positive to step into a passionate fan base, but
how about a fan base that knows how to accept and love a star player? Like maybe I'm looking at maybe like the Spurs and Chicago are kind of the only other teams that have a fan base that have accepted their star players, a Jordan, a Derrick Rose, those types of players. Obviously, you go from Dirk, and you saw the love for Luka. Like there is love for a star player here. If you can get that from Mavericks fans, that the loyalty doesn't go away. It's in Mavs fans' DNA.
And he's big enough as a prospect that if he went to Charlotte, like he's still going to be beloved in that city and all the stuff. I think too, and now that I've been thinking about it, another thing with having some of the veteran leadership, those guys and these big personalities and AD and Kyrie and stuff, is you won't always be the talking point on the local stations every single post game, or like you have a bad game, you might not be the talking point for 3 hours of the radio show the next day because Kyrie could have went off for 40, or AD had an even worse game. And it's like people are debating AD and stuff over you in your 14th game of your rookie season. And he's still going to be under the microscope, but I don't know. That's just
how about the GM is going to be under the microscope for every single thing he ever does next. Like Nico Harrison has now this target on his back from everybody. And I think it's more about social than it is about radio shows and stuff now, that there won't be like Cooper Flagg is newspapers. Cooper Flagg is a bust edits all over the place. There will be, look at what Nico Harrison has done to this team or whatever. Anytime the Mavs fail, I think that will come up for sure.
I feel like somebody's listening to this and they're like, dude, y'all are contradicting yourselves left and right. Because I do feel like I am like, passionate fan base, that's a positive, but then you won't be the limelight because there's other people. And it's like, I feel like I am kind of going back and forth. So I'm sorry.
We're only looking at the positives.
I have some smaller ones.
Okay, go ahead.
Number 32 is open.
That's good. Some teams it's not.
It's not retired, and
Great.
Not a current player's not wearing it.
Good
so
number.
There you go. Blue stuff still applies, like all your blue gear.
All the blue shoes and all the
still
blue
matches if you want to match your socks and gear and all that stuff. If he's frugal, doesn't want to buy new things.
About to make 13 million. He was just in NIL.
I'm kidding about that one. I do have one positional thing really quick, and it's saying I think he's going to be forced to play a smaller position than what he's used to. And I think that could be positive for like a long-term effect on his career that you see, I look even like Anthony Davis, and so many people are like, dude, he played point guard in high school because he hadn't hit a growth spurt yet. And how that that factored into, this and that. I think you could look at it once you get later in his career. And I think he could be looking back at it and it's like, man, remember those first 2 years? Those first 2 years in Dallas, I was playing two guard at times.
Yeah.
I was playing the three a lot, and really my natural position is the four. And so it's like, if he went to another team that didn't have any of these bigger pieces, I think they would just immediately pencil him in at the four where he's played the most. And it's like, it feels like the most natural position for him, and saying like, all right, here you go. Now we're going to fit all this around. I just think this playing out of position a little bit or learning more of the other positions could have a positive effect on him throughout the rest of his career.
Can I take a second and talk about Cooper Flagg has been great for the Mavericks and been great for their business and been great for our business and all that.
Stop.
Rick Weltz had a quote in the Dallas Morning News today that we were talking about it earlier today, and it just rubbed me the wrong way. He said, quote, "I don't think there's ever been quite a reversal of fortune in our league. a lot of fans who maybe had decided not to renew their tickets and called back and kind of apologized to their ticket person. What they had said to them when we made that trade and asked if perhaps those seats might be available again, it's just been incredible at every level of business. The report is that the Mavs made $7 million in ticket sales after they got the number 1 pick in the draft. And I just want to take a second and say, yeah, great. Okay. You guys lucked into it. It is the fortune. Like, it is great fortune for this team. The reason why it needed to be fortune and the reason why it needed to be such a reversal is because of the decision you guys made. And there still hasn't really even been like an admittance of contrition in any way to the fan base about that. And I just still think that they're taking the wrong approach to comments like this. It's like, oh, see, they're coming back. They apologize to their ticket person, and it's been great for us. It's been great for us that this happened. You're like, man, can we not?
Yeah, this comment really frustrated me. I asked myself, like, why do you say a comment like this, right? You're either saying it from an angle of, hey, I want to prove to people that, like, I want to show you guys that you were wrong and we were right. I don't think it's fully as that. I could be wrong.
I don't think it is either.
I fully think it's probably like a business angle. Like, hey, he wants to put that out there to like tell investors or like sponsorships and everything. It's like another public statement of like, hey, we're back. Like, we're back up. The meme and stuff. And like, our people, they left, but they came back and all this stuff. But it also, there's a communication that you're making to your fan base that does kind of put you up there saying that like, you're like, haha, y'all were wrong. And your feelings were invalid in a way. Like when you go as far as saying that, like they call even saying like apologized and like, the same people who like, called and canceled, even some of the ticket holders, telling them that they've changed their, and it's like, okay, like if that's happened, once again, my whole thing would be just completely different of how they've handled this, like PR wise, of like just your communication of it. And I get you're not going to be able to stand up there and say, hey, we made the wrong decision. I've never said that they could do that because they just can't say that. But what they still haven't, I don't think that they've approached any of these interviews or anything from is we broke the trust of our fan base. And every comment or interview and everything, I think should be done from a standpoint of whether you're confident in your decision, all the stuff, whatever, should be done from a standpoint of, hey, we just want to prove to our fans that we want you to be proud to be a Mavs fan again. We want to show that like we're so invested in our future and we're excited for Cooper Flagg, for this number 1 pick. And then we hope that these people come back. And we've seen a few or whatever, but like we hope that they come back and they want to be a part of the Mavs moving forward. We need them. Just an acknowledgement of we lost trust, how we want to build that back. And that's the lens I think all the PR stuff should be through. And it just hasn't. It hasn't been at all. And it still hasn't.
Yeah, if this quote came with, they apologized to their ticket person and what they said to them and then asked if perhaps those seats might be available again. We're so grateful that those people are coming back and we're ready to prove to them to get their trust back again. Like just even that's not even admitting that the trade was bad. Like, cause
you can believe you made the right decision.
Yeah.
And still
they have to,
and still believe and recognize and acknowledge that you lost a lot of trust in your fan base and you have to work to build it back.
I was talking to one of my friends who has little kids and he was driving back and him and his daughter always get like slushies on the way back from like something they do together, and they couldn't do it one day. And he's like, the amount of tears and just crying like hurt me so badly that I couldn't, but it was the right choice. It was the right choice that he had to make.
Yeah.
Cause to like not do it for whatever reason it was. And he's like, but I just couldn't get myself. I just kept apologizing over and over again, even though I knew it was the right thing. I couldn't do it.
That red 40. I just couldn't do it.
Like, there's something about it. And I was like, that in a dumb way feels like this. It's, never gonna go away. Guys, thanks for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs. We'll be back with more all throughout the week. Next week, we'll have guests. We'll talk about the draft, talk about Cooper Flagg, and all that and more. Thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs.
Peace out.